All right, here's page 2 of the review. Looks like our first problem here, we need to solve this equation. So just think about that. Looks gonna look like. That means we're gonna be looking for x equals to be our answer, and then in that case, in that vein, we're also gonna be looking for 4 of those. So when we're done, we should have 4 answers probably. Looks like we're given a couple factors. And some of the ideas that you get rid of the things you know just to focus on the things you don't know. And so we're going to go ahead and divide out those factors. So we're going to do that double division. It doesn't matter which one you start with. Also, so we're doing synthetic. I want to check for gaps. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, no gaps. So I've got 1, negative 5, negative 12, 44, 80. And I'll just start with the 2. So x plus 2 is going to give me a negative 2 here. Drop down 1. Negative 2, add, get negative 7, multiply, get 14, add, get 2, multiply, get negative 4, add, get 40, multiply to get negative 80. There's that 0, like we should have. Draw another box. I'm going to use the x minus 4 for a positive 4 is the 0. Drop down the 1, multiply, get 4, add, get negative 3, multiply, get negative 12, add, get negative 10, multiply, get negative 40. I forgot to cross that out, so we don't need that guy. And there's our 0. So we got 0 both times, those worked out. So we know I'm on the right track. That's my remainder, my constant, my x squared. X squared minus 3x minus 10. I am solving this. I want to set this equal to 0 since it's an equation. Go ahead and try the AC method on this to factor it. Could use the quadratic formula, but that's probably going to be more difficult. So AC is negative 10. 1 times negative 10 is negative 10. We need to add to negative 3. So our b value. Factors of negative 10 that add to be negative 3 are 2 and negative 5. So I got x squared plus 2x minus 5x minus 3. Minus 3 minus 10. Equals 0. Don't lose your 0. Cut it in half. These both have an x in them. X plus 2. These both have a negative 5 in them. I get x plus 2. So those are the same. That's good. It still equals 0. So then we end up with x plus 2 times x minus 5 as our factors. And so from those, we get a couple of zeros, solutions. So we've got x is going to be equal to negative 2. X is also going to be equal to positive 5. From up top, we had x is equal to negative 2 again. And then we had x would be equal to 4. So there's our 4 answers. Turns out only 3 of them are actually unique. So technically, we only have 3 answers, even though there'd be 4. It's like it's in a question B. How many x-intercepts would we expect to see? So since there's only 3 zeros, 3 unique zeros, we'd only expect to see 3 x-intercepts. And we should see that when you go to Desmos and check it. So, so what I expect to see at that negative 2 is that there'd be a bounce. So, we talked about that during the last section of this unit. So I expect to see a bounce like that, and then the other 2 would be crossing. So that'd be why that's doing that. Next problem, same idea. We're going to solve this guy, given a factor again. So just, stop and take note of what we got here. We're solving. And we got x cubed, so we should be expecting to see 3 x's when we're done. And just like before, let's get rid of that one that we know. So I know negative 3 is going to be my 0 there. Check for gaps. 3, 2, 1, 0, no gaps. 1, 6, negative 90, negative 270. Drop the 1, multiply, add, multiply. Add. Something's going wrong. What do I do? Oh, yeah, that's right. This one had a typo in it. That's right. There should be a 2 in this. Just forgot to type that up there, so. Drop the 2 down. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6. That's 0. 3 times 0 is 0. Minus 90 when I add, and multiply, get positive 270. That's it. All right, so there's that 0 I was looking for. That's why I knew something was off there. So there's my constant, my x squared. So we end up with 2x squared minus 90 equals 0. Set to equal 0 since it's an equation we need to solve. I'm not going to factor this to solve. I'm just going to get x by itself since there's only one x in the problem. So I'm going to have 2x squared equals 90 divided by 2. So x squared will equal 45. Square root both sides. So x squared, x will equal positive or negative square root of 45. But we need to suck that out to see if there's a way we can reduce that. That's 3 times 15, which is 3 times 5. So 3's have a buddy, 5 is lonely. So that's going to be equal to x plus or minus 3 radical 5. So there's 2 of the answers. And remember the other answer is going to be that original one, which should be the negative 3 from the factor that we were given. Don't forget about that on one. It's almost like a gimme. So that guy. So there's our 2 answers, or 3 answers, sorry. So I got negative 3, positive 3 squared is 5, and negative 3 squared is 5. So how many x-intercepts do I expect to see when I graph it? I would expect to see 3 definite x-intercepts. Just one of them would be on an integer at the negative 3, and the other 2 would be in the decimals somewhere. So one on the negative side, one on the positive side. So that's what you should see when you graph it. Last one here, find all the zeros. So I want to pay attention to the graph, see what we're being given over here. So here we have x equals negative 3, and here we have x equals 5. So it's kind of like, I think the first problem we did up here, we're going to have to do some layers, since we have two zeros, 2 factors to get rid of, 2 zeros to get rid of. And you know, how many should we have? Find all the zeros. We should end up with 4. So we already knew 2 of them. That's nice. So let's then check for gaps. 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. No gaps. So we got 3, negative 6, negative 21, negative 48, negative 360. Doesn't matter which one you do first. Let's grab the negative 3 first. That is the value I want. Don't change the sign. 3 comes down. Negative 3 times 3 is negative 9. Add, get negative 15. Multiply, get positive 45. Add, get 24. Multiply, get 72. Negative 72. Add that, we get 112, 120. Multiply, get positive 360. That's good. 0. I'm going to drop my next box, cross out the 0 this time, and then the other one was 5. So drop the 3 down. 3 times 5 is 15. Add that, we get 0 times 0, 0, 24. We add, multiply, or add, and then 5 times 24 is 120, which is good, because that gives me 0 again. So there's our double 0, so that's a check. There's our constant, there's our x squared. So we get 3x squared plus 24 equals 0. Make sure you set that equal to 0 and write an equation. Just like before, I'm going to get x by itself since there's only one x in the problem. Subtract 24. 3x squared equals negative 24. Divided by 3. Gives me x squared equals negative 8. Square root both sides. So x equals plus or minus square root of negative 8. So a little warning light should be going off here because we see that square root of a negative. And then square root of 8 is 2 times 4, which is 2 times 2. So we got one pair of 2's and then only 2. So we're going to end up with x equals plus or minus. So that pair of 2's gets to come out. It's the square root of a negative, which means it's an imaginary number. And then we had that lonely 2 that was left in. So there's two of our answers, positive 2i radical 2 and negative 2i radical 2. And then we had our two answers that we started the problem with, which were negative 3 and positive 5. So there's our 4 solutions. So that's all done. So from the equation, we know that there's a degree of 4, so the max number of x-intercepts we should see is that 4. But why do we only see 2? So the reason we only see 2 is because 2 of them are imaginary. So we see the 2 that are real, we just don't see the 2 that are imaginary. So 2 of the zeros, the solutions, are imaginary. So they do not show up as x-intercepts. Which should make sense. Alrighty, hope you guys have a good days and do well on the quiz. Looking forward to seeing how well you guys did without me.